5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All systems go with Josh Appelbaum starts now.
Hello and welcome to episode 398 of the All Systems Go Sports Betting Podcast, powered by Rhythm. I am your host, Josh Appelbaum. What's going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday. Another day here in the arena, guys, and we got a lot to talk about on today's podcast. We're going to walk through the garden because we got a couple different sports to hit on, guys. We have a big Maction Tuesday, so 3 games in Maction. If you forced me to play a position in each game, I would have one for you, but I tried to whittle it down to some of the sharpest plays here of the night or on the board. So we do have one play here for you on a side in Maction. Little college football on a Tuesday, which is always nice. And then big game in college basketball. I'm going to focus on the most heavily bet game of the night with a really sharp line move. So if you're looking to take some points here with a dog, let's hope they can bark for us. So a big play in college basketball. And then one play in the NBA. I'm looking at a total, which tanked. It fell a ton. It's starting to rise back up. And Rhythm is saying, hey, this thing should fly over, hopefully. So I do have a total for you looking toward an over in the NBA. So a 3-pack overall, 1 college football, 1 college basketball, and 1 NBA. As always, guys, a 3-pack. Let's try to eke out 2 winners and go 2-1, eke out a winning day. That, of course, is always the goal. Now, looking back to our last night after a great 5-0 Sunday, unfortunately, no breaks yesterday. 0-3, minus 3 units. Started off not great with the Las Vegas Raiders letting us down. Man, they just got their doors blown off and just couldn't get anything going offensively. Could not stop the Dallas Cowboys. So, hey, 80% of tickets took Dallas. The public gets the laugh on that one. Last laugh, I should say. And as my old, I was almost going to say my old most favorite player of all time, Mr. Pedro Martinez once said, tip my cap, call the Yankees my daddy. Well, I tip my cap, call the public my daddy, because they didn't think about it. They laid it with Dallas, and Dallas easily covered that number. So not a great result for contrarians or for the sports book. So we'll give the public the winner on the Dallas Cowboys. Also, looking at college hoops, came up short, which was frustrating with Tennessee Tech because they had a good sharp line move, minus 2.5 up to 4.5. Got a good minus 170 money line. They closed like minus 190. So read that game correctly, but ended up losing by 2. They're up early, then they were down big, and then came back. Couldn't complete the comeback, so Tennessee Tech let us down there. And then also, to throw a little gasoline on the fire, or a little, salt in the wound, some dirt on the grave, whatever you want to call it. Our guy Duncan Robinson came up just short. Over 16.5 points and rebounds. He landed on 15. So it was literally too shy of cashing our over. And the frustrating part there was it was kind of a big blowout there for the Pistons. And Duncan Robinson was in garbage time late, and he had 3 different opportunities to shoot a 3. Missed all 3 of them. So he hits one of those late in the fourth quarter. We cash our over. Unfortunately, comes up just short with our prop bet. So, as always, guys, looking to start a new winning streak here for today. Maction, college hoops, NBA. Let's run through it all and see if we can hopefully pick out some winners. So, I want to start off with some Maction because, of course, we got a triple header here in college football, I should say. And again, I don't get it. All 3 games are at 7 o'clock. This is something that I don't know. I'm a old man shouting at the cloud like that Simpsons gif, but why are they all at 7? Give me a 6, an 8, a 10. Of course, you got to put it all at the same time. But either way, guys, land on one game that really jumped out to me: Akron and Bowling Green. So let's set the stage, talk line movement, split system matches. I'll give you my play for this Maction game here tonight. So going into it, we have Akron 4-7 on the year. They just saw their 2-game win streak come to an end. Lost to Kent State 42-35 in overtime. Lost outright as a 7.5 point home favorite. On the other hand, Bowling Green 3-7. They have dropped 4 in a row and just came up short against Eastern Michigan. 27-21, didn't cover as a 3-point road dog. So what have you seen across the market here? Well, this game opened mostly Bowling Green minus 3.5. Now, I did see a couple books open a little higher, like minus 4.5, minus 5, but that quickly got down to 3.5. And then, since that time, it's only dropped further away from Bowling Green and toward Akron. So now we're seeing Akron down to plus 3. And if you pay attention to the threes, they're all juiced up on the Akron side. Plus 3, minus 115, minus 120, and some books are even down to 2.5. So from open to current, it's very clear. It's all been one-way movement. I always look at line movement, open to current, and then I want to look at the moves in between and say, hey, has it been a straight line from one team to the other, or has there been buyback and back and forth, maybe ping-ponging sharp money, especially around a key number and a hook? But no, in this case, it's always been moving toward Akron. So it tells me Akron getting some smart money here tonight. Then we look at the bet splits at DK. Akron is getting 53% of spread bets, 67% of spread dollars. So basically that's a 50-50 line move. 53% is basically down the middle. Public doesn't know what to do, but what do we always talk about? 50-50 line shouldn't move at all, yet it has moved toward Akron in this spot. Then we look at Circa, 89% of spread bets, 99% of spread dollars on Akron. So out in Vegas, you're seeing a big predominance of sharp money, both pro and Joe you could call it, but I would say it's more pro because you don't get a ton of recreational bettors going to Circa. It's really high limits and catered to wise guys, as we always talk about. So again, people always ask me like DK versus Circa. You get both of them at vsin.com, which I'm an analyst for, and they're a great resource. But DK is where the public is. Sharp money typically is where Circa is. If you ever see discrepancies where one is totally different than the other, just remember they're taking and accruing bets from a different clientele. DK more average Joes drunk at the bar, regular guys. Whereas, again, Circa, more the sharp pro bettors. But both have good low bets, higher dollars in favor of Akron. The line is moving toward Akron. We have seen Maction dogs getting between 3 and 7 points perform pretty well. They're 35 and 25 against the spread, 58%, 11% ROI since 2022. And then you guys probably remember our grinder system. If you're a short road dog getting 4 or less, good system historically since 2012. You're going up on over a decade at this point. They're 663 and 595 against the spread, 53% with a 2% ROI. And again, it may not seem great, but 52.38% is your break-even point. So if you had bet $100 on every short road dog 4 or less, you're actually up nearly $3,000 over that long time frame. Then we look at a couple other angles here. We look at our sharp mush advantage from our friends at Juice Reel and noticed a 9% sharp mush edge in favor of Akron. I will admit, we have seen a little bit of under money here too, so it's always nice when the line moves toward the dog and the under, because this total opened 47.5. It's down to 46.5. And what's notable to me is the public is hammering the over, nearly 70% of bets at DK, but the total fell. So it tells me reverse line move on the under, and also Circa, 75% bets, 90% dollars on the under. So again, we always talk correlative betting. This wouldn't technically be a dog low total. 46.5, that's kind of a higher NFL game. That's a lower end in college. But to me, lower end in college is closer to like 40. Like if you look at the Western Michigan, Northern Illinois game tonight, that total's like 38.5, 39. If you look at that UMass Ohio game, it's like 54.5. So I guess it's a little lower end. But the point being, when you see the line move toward the dog, Akron, and the total start to fall toward the under, typically that's a good sign for a dog because fewer amount of expected points scored, lower scoring game, harder for the favorite to cover that number. So you add it all up here, guys. I'm taking the points with Akron. Now, of course, you got to shop around because there's a lot of 2.5s out there, but you can still hopefully get a 3. Why is that important? Because, again, Akron loses by 3. You want to push that bet instead of lose that bet. And I was thinking of maybe buying it up to 3.5, hoping for a 3.5. I could have bought it up to 3.5 at minus 125. I felt that was kind of a little rich. So I ended up just taking the +3 at a nice reduced juice, +3 minus 105 at BetMGM. But pretty clear, line keeps moving to Akron. I'm going to take a shot on the Zips, +3 tonight in Maction. Now, I would argue this is the most heavily bet primetime game we've talked about so far in the college hoop season because we've been doing pretty decent other than last night with our obscure sharp line moves. But this is a game that is by far the most heavily bet game of the night, which gives me an opportunity to follow a sharp contrarian move. Now I'm talking about 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the State Farm Champions Classic in Madison Square Garden, New York City, home of the Knicks. The Michigan State Spartans against the Kentucky Wildcats. Now, first thing you got to know, guys, this game is super popular, super heavily bet. Again, ESPN, a little bit early, 6:30, so make sure if you want to play it, you get it in time. But when we look at those obscure sharp line moves, low bet line move tells us pros are on it. When you get to these really heavily bet games, I lean a little more into contrarian because this game, you go into a bar anywhere across America, they're going to have this game on TV at 6:30. So it's very heavily bet, very popular. I want to go contrarian and bet against, obviously, the popular play here from the betting public, but I also want some element of smart money. And wouldn't you know it, Michigan State Spartans have both elements here. So let's just start off with the line move. We open this game at Kentucky around a 6-point favorite. Remember, neutral site. It is not at Rupp Arena. But open Kentucky -6. The line is down to 4.5. So right off the bat, what does that tell us? It tells us in a very big, heavily bet, popular primetime game, public's all over Kentucky. And yet, the line is moving toward Michigan State. So Michigan State +6 down to +4.5. Boom. Tells us smart money is going Michigan State. Then we look at the bet splits. Just mentioned a second ago, but the popular play with the public is to say, give me the Kentucky Wildcats and the points. Right now, you are getting 62% of spread bets going Kentucky. So even if you take away the 1.5-point line move toward Michigan State, it's still just a contrarian bet against the public, most heavily bet game of the night play. So only 38% of spread bets on Michigan State, yet the line moved in their favor. It's also been pretty much one way. I mean, some books even touched as low as 4 briefly throughout the day. And it's never really gotten up to 5, or back up to 5, I should say. So it tells me liability on the Sparty side here. Then you look at Circa. Circa, again, we just mentioned how the clientele's different. But at Circa, 67% of spread bets, 94% of spread dollars are on Michigan State. So a good low bets, higher dollar split at Circa from the pros. Contrarian play with a reverse line move on Michigan State at DraftKings. One advantage I was looking at when I was looking at some of the advanced analytics, offensive rebound percentage. Offensive rebounds are huge because you get extra possessions, you get putbacks. They're also demoralizing when you're defensively. You think you got to stop, and then you give it up, and they score on you. But Michigan State actually ranks 6th best in the country at offensive rebound percentage, 46%. Kentucky's 39%. That's 43rd in the country. Tom Izzo as a dog in a heavily bet primetime game when he's undervalued and unpopular. I'll take that as well. Rhythm has Michigan State plus 3.9. So if you're getting the 4.5, still a little bit of an edge there on the Rhythm prediction. And oh, by the way, a 6% sharp mush edge on Michigan State from our friends at Juice Reel. So it's the most heavily bet game of the night by far. Again, ESPN. You can easily watch this one tonight if you want. And yet the line is going toward Michigan State, even though the public is hammering Kentucky. So again, I was thinking, should I buy it up to 5? Should I wait it out? I decided to once again jump on a bit of a reduced juice play. I got Michigan State plus 4.5, minus 105 at FanDuel. So win the damn game or lose by 4 or less, but I'm going Sparty. Most heavily bet game of the night. Sharp contrarian reverse line move. Michigan State plus 4.5. Now over to the NBA. No player prop, guys, but I got a total for you. I want to look at the Celtics and the Brooklyn Nets tonight. This is a 7:30 game. Celtics come in 7-7 on the year. I have their over 40.5 win total, so I'm probably going to have to sweat this thing all year. I'm just hoping you hover around 500 most of the season. But Celtics have won 3 of 4. They just beat the Clippers 121-118. You look at the Nets. They're one of the worst teams in the NBA. They're 2-11. They just had their first win in quite a while. They beat Washington 129-106. So what have we seen across the market here? Well, a tiny little line move toward the Celtics. Again, you would expect them to be a big favorite. They are. They open minus 10.5. Some books are up to 11. But I want to focus on the total because I think there's an opportunity to kind of buy low on the dip here and also take advantage, hopefully, of a really good rhythm discrepancy. The Celtics Nets total, it opened as high as 225.5. I'm looking for some injuries. I really don't see any. Obviously, Jason Tatum's out for the Celtics, but we knew that for quite a while at this point. And the total opened 225.5, immediately got bet down. So it fell all the way down to 221.5 at one point. However, did it continue to fall down and get closer to 220? No. Once it got to 221.5, that's when you started to see a lot of wise guy buyback, buy low and hit that over, and cause it to rise back up to 222.5 at ESPN Bet. But other books are 223, 223.5. So I'm saying we should maybe buy low on this dip and play the over. Now, if you look at the splits, they look pretty good at Circa on the over, 67% of bets, but over 95% of dollars on the over. So pros out in Vegas also playing the over here. It is also a rhythm Green Star recommendation for me because I have 2 system recommendations on the over. First one is 224.6. Second one is 225.1. So again, you get a 224, you cash this thing. Now I jumped on over 222.5, minus 110 at ESPN Bet. That should still be available. So in that regard, a 223 would cash for you. But the Green Star recommendation 225.1 provides a little bit of a gap there. a little wiggle room to hopefully cash this over. Now, offensive efficiency, Celtics are 11th in the country. Here I am thinking of college again. In the NBA, the Nets are 29th in defensive efficiency, so that's why you obviously see a big spread. But I have some system plays on this over as well. Now, one thing we've noticed, overs have done well just in general in the NBA this season. Overs are, let me just update this for you. They are 115 and 92 on the year. That is a 56% win rate, 6% ROI. If you isolate it in terms of just conference overs, we've actually seen them perform even better. If it's a conference game, the over is 85 and 61, 58.2% with an 11% ROI. Then also have a system match called Big Home Dog Go Over. So if you're a big home dog of 11 points or more, play the over. Since the start of last year, that's 41 and 30, 58%, 10% ROI. And think of it this way, like typically if it's a big favorite, you want to lean under because they're probably going to get up big, 15, 20, 25 points, take your foot off the gas, just end the game. It's a little different. When you're a big home dog and you're getting down big, typically what you're going to want to do is fight till the end to at least make the score look a little bit better. So because of that system, big home dog go over. If you're a dog at home of 11 points or more, you're hitting the over 58% of the time over the course of the last 2 seasons. So the total fell a ton, but it's starting to rise back up. You can still get over 222.5 minus 110 at ESPN Bet. That's what I did. Again, shop around because some books are 223, 223.5, but Rhythm is predicting closer to 225. So I'm going to hope for some points here and hope that a big home dog go over system match can hit for us. I played over 222.5 minus 110 Celtics and Nets at ESPN Bet. So Celtics Nets over. Michigan State 4.5. Akron +3. See if we can find a way to get 2 out of 3, eke out a winning night. Of course, that is always the goal. So that about does it for episode 398 of the All Systems Go Sports Betting Podcast, powered by Rhythm. This is the part of the pod where we wrap things up. And I start first, as always, by saying thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to pull up a chair to the virtual bar and sweat some sharp, data-driven breakdowns with me. If you do enjoy this pod, if you value the insights, if you feel like you've gotten a little bit sharper since listening, hopefully you're beating closing lines, hopefully you're making sharper bets and cashing some tickets. But if that's the case and you want to help me grow the pod or show some appreciation, I would love for you to do something that costs you no money. All you got to do, just click the 5-star button. Under review, rate review, 5 stars for the pod on iTunes or Spotify would help us to continue to gain some momentum with the podcast here. And then, of course, you can also leave a nice review. You can recommend the pod to a friend. You can click the follow button, all available when you rate and review and give a thumbs up for the pod. I'd very much appreciate that. Next, if you enjoy this style of betting breakdown, data-driven, sharp contrarian betting, focusing on line movement, bet splits, system matches, what the betting market is telling us, not our bias and our heart. We got to bet with our head, not our heart. If you haven't learned that by now, it's a rule you got to learn at some point. But anyway, if you want to learn more about data-driven betting, I know the holidays are coming up. Why don't you get some holiday shopping out of the way right now? Just go to Amazon.com and type in the NFL Sharp Betting Playbook. It's a new book of mine. Came out about 3 months ago. Very proud of it, but it's got basically everything I've learned how to bet the NFL from a data-driven perspective. Got a lot of system matches there throughout the year, and of course, before you know it, obviously playoffs and Super Bowl. But a lot to dig into with that book. Makes a great stocking stuffer, a great gift. Also, you can search my first book, The Everything Guide to Sports Betting. Pick that up as well. But grab one or both. Bring them to the sports book. I'll sign them for you. Buy a beer or a ginger ale, and we'll sweat some of these games here together tonight. Next, have you downloaded Rhythm and Juice Reel yet? My 2 favorite sports betting apps. Rhythm for their AI-backed models and predictions for game bets and player props. Reminder, Thursday night, a couple nights from now, we'll have another Rhythm Rundown. Looking forward to that with my buddy Cade Harper. And then also Juice Reel. Juice Reel has some great features. First off, if you enjoy the pod, you want to get the plays early, you want to support the pod, tip your pod host, you can spend $4.99 a week. Yep, $5, not a lot. But you can get the plays from the Juice Reel app and get them as soon as I play them. So hopefully beat some closing lines like that. Celtics over 222.5. Boom, you'll get that. A lot of the markets at 223, 223.5. But you're also going to get the Robo Jackson best bet picks, the Sharp Mush indicators, the arbitrage plays, the shop for the best line futures, all available when you download Juice Reel. So download Rhythm, download Juice Reel. you'd be off and running, making sharp bets with two of my favorite apps on the market. Next, do you have a live odds page? If you don't have one, you need one. You got to be able to track the market. What did the line open at? Where is it now? Pull up the line history. As soon as the odds get lit up in red and then orange or then green and then yellow, you know that the lines are moving. So if you like a bet, you better jump on it now or wait. It'll tell you to wait because if you like the other side, maybe you're waiting for the hook and it's juiced on the -3, -115. You see a book go to 3.5. You wait it out. Say, hey, I can get the 3.5. Or 3.5's fallen down to 3. Grab it now. Again, this is how you can use the Odds Logic live odds page to help you make sharper bets and get better numbers. But if you'd like to test it out, all you have to do is go to oddslogic.com/Josh123. And that'll give you a 7-day free trial and 50% off your first month of service. Next, have you given Novig a shot? Novig is a betting exchange. If you haven't done it, test it out. Cool thing about a betting exchange is you're going to get better juice prices. So instead of paying -115, -120, you're going to pay -105, -106, +102, +104, because you're going up against other bettors and not the house who's going to gouge you with the high juice prices. Also, if you win and you're doing well, you're not going to get limited or booted. So give Novig a shot. Just download the Novig app. And when you fund your account, put in Josh123 in the promo code for a 100% deposit match up to $25. So that about does it for episode 398 of the ASG pod on a big Tuesday, guys. As always, two final thoughts, whether I see you at the Borgata in Atlantic City, Twin River in Rhode Island, the Brook in New Hampshire, Foxwoods or Mohegan Sun down in Connecticut, at the Encore in Boston, Plainridge Park Casino, MGM Springfield, or the Nash in my neck of the woods on the border of Massachusetts and New Hampshire, or out in the desert where the true grinders get down, where Billy Walters sends his number runners, where the lowest juice possible is found at the South Point, or Sweat and Sharp Contrarian plays jumping in the stadium swim pool when you cash a big ticket at Circa. You're gonna walk up to me and we're just gonna shake our head and chug a beer because the Raiders let us down, Tennessee Tech imploded, and Duncan Robinson came up 2 freaking points rebounds short. But either way, guys, we're gonna get right back at it, get right back on the saddle. Hopefully, have a winning night here for tonight. So coming off an 0-3 or a 3-0, 2-1, a 1-2, a winning night, a losing night, a great day followed by a terrible day, or a terrible day followed by a great day. Hey, there's going to be ups and downs in betting. You got to be disciplined with your bankroll management. You got to stay the course, think long term, never get too high when things are good, never get too low when things are bad. Because when we go 0-3, we're never as bad as we think. When we go 5-0, we're never as good as we think. We're always somewhere in the middle, and we're always grinding. And that's really the name of the game, taking that next bet mentality, next shot mentality approach, and sticking to the numbers and finding those games that fit our model, which at this point you might know goes something like this. Games that are against the public, with the house, with the pros, flat bet, avoid parlays and get that CLV. If we can do that, we're going to be successful sports bettors long term. So have a great Tuesday night, everybody. Let's go Sparty. Let's go Akron. Let's get points in the Celtics game. And we'll be right back at it tomorrow for episode 399 of the All Systems Go Sports Betting Podcast, powered by Rhythm. Good luck, everybody, and have a great Tuesday night.